Welcome to the final lesson on the question form. Here I will quickly touch upon the future tense so that you will have an idea of how to ask questions about the future. It's very easy. I think I remember telling you this because the future has the will, the be verb, the future of the be verb can always jump. Will you come tomorrow? I will come tomorrow. Will you come tomorrow? Who will come tomorrow? When will you come? Subject, object, when will you come? So very easy. If you listen to this, it's very easy that you get it. But I will do a Michael Jackson poem, Will You Be There? A Michael Jackson song, Will You Be There? To teach the future. It's beautiful melody, beautiful music. Michael Jackson, it's a pity he died the way he died because he had a lot of beautiful music that he left to the world. I want you to hear this song. So I'll be doing Will You Be There to show you the future tense. A quick breakdown. Will can also be replaced by any of the modal verbs. Can, should, ought to. I can play the violin. Can you play the violin? Those modal verbs can also jump in front because it's very close to the be verb. So, you must finish your homework. Must I finish my homework today? Can I do it tomorrow? Things like that. Not difficult. If you need more revision, you can easily go to any good YouTube video and get more revision. I won't do it very much here because I think it's quite easy. Let me read these lyrics by Michael Jackson. Please, if you want, before or after, listen to the song and come back to the lyrics. Will you be there, Michael Jackson? Hold me like the river Jordan, and I will then say to thee, you are my friend. Carry me like you are my brother. Love me like a mother. Will you be there? Weary, tell me, will you hold me? When wrong, will you scold me? When lost, will you find me? But they told me a man should be faithful and walk when not able and fight till the end. But I am only human. Everyone's taking control of me. Seems that the world's got a role for me. I am so confused. Will you show it to me? Will you be there for me? You'll be there for me and care enough to bear me. So then it goes into various choruses, hold me, show me, lay your head lowly. You know, it's quite sad when you remember how he died, this song, because he was taking a lot of drugs even to sleep, and finally he had to use gas to be put to sleep. And he became such a superstar. And this last verse, everyone's taking control of me, seems that the world's got a role for me. It's connected to what, Emily Dickinson's poem that I did last week. When you're a celebrity, everyone, they have an admiring bug, but they will tell you how to live. If you look at the lives of celebrities now, it cannot be easy. And of course, they have the money and all that. The world's got a role for me. Now the world expects me to behave in a particular way. And it's sad because he's actually crying out for a friend or a lover or someone who loves him. I am so confused. Will you show it to me? You'll be there for me and care enough to bear me. Like, will you bear the weight of what my life has become? And I think the answer he got at the end of his life was actually there was no one for him because he died and there was no one to save him in time. So it's for me it's sad when you remember how he died. But to go back to the grammar, it's a question of the yes no questions being asked. Will you be there? Will you be there? It's either yes or no. So to make that a WH question, you can say, when will you be there? I will be there at 10 o'clock. I mean, a very practical question. I am going to campus tomorrow. When will you be there? And some my friend can say, I will be there at 10 a.m. So, are you going to America? What will you do there? What will you do there? I will be a teacher. But if someone wants to ask me what I'm going to do, what will you do there? Will you do teaching? What will you do there? Will you teach? Okay, so when, what, why will you ask him for money? Why will you ask him for money? He's not a good person. I am really desperate for money. Why will you ask? Will you ask him for money? Yes, no. Why will you ask him for money? Okay, so to the will you, the yes, no question, you can add any of the WH words as well. Why will you ask him this question? When will you go to the US? What will you do there? How will you survive in the US? How? How will you survive in the US? Okay, so any of those WH questions can also be added to the yes no question. And here they haven't got any WH questions here. So I'm doing another poem. This is not a famous poem or a good poem particularly, but it shows the WH questions quite well. And let me get that poem across. It was also in a book, but I'll read it off the internet. This is a poem by Edmund Vance Cook. Again, not a very good poem, but a very encouraging, very upbeat, positive poem. So, how did you die? It's a WH question. Did you die? That's a question that can never be answered. But the question is, how did you die? Let me read that, and you'll see the difference between a yes no past tense, and this is a past tense as opposed to Michael Jackson being in the future tense, where a yes no past tense question is also preceded by a WH past tense question. How did you die? By Edmund Vance Cook. Did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful? Or hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Oh, a trouble's a ton, or a trouble's an ounce, or a trouble is what you make it. And it isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it? You are beaten to earth. Well, what's that? Come up with a smiling face. It's nothing against you to fall down flat, but to lie there, that's a disgrace. The harder you're thrown, why, the higher you bounce. Be proud of your blackened eye. It isn't the fact that you're licked that counts. It's how you did, but it's how did you fight and why. It's how did you fight and why. And though you be done to the death, what then? If you battled the best you could, if you played your part in the world of men, why, the critic will call it good. Death comes with a crawl or comes with a pounce, and whether he's slow or spry, it isn't the fact that you're dead that counts, but only how did you die. A very, in a way, courageous poem, though I don't think the poetry is very high there. So in that he's asking, it's not, the question is not whether you were beaten. The question is not whether you lost a fight. The question is, why did you fight? Okay, so he's saying no matter what life throws onto you, even if you're dead, the question that is important is, how did you die? When someone beat you, did you lie on the ground and take the beating, or did you get up and fight? Okay, and this poet is saying, please, for whatever you're fighting, let it be worth it. Because the important question is not the fight, but why you're fighting. You can fight for very wrong things also, which, that's the question. And that kind of fighting won't be worth it. And here he uses the word critic with a capital C, because he's Christian, that's probably God. He says the question is not whether you're beaten, but what is the fight you were beaten in? And the question is not whether you're dead or alive, but how did you die? What was it that made your life worth giving? So it's a kind of a very positive poem where they say, don't hide your face, don't hide and run. Sometimes the question is, how did you tackle the problem? Did you hide your face, or did you meet it with a resolute heart, right? It isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it. If you're hurt, obviously you'll be hurt like in life, but the question is, how did you handle the hurt? How did you take it? In what way? How means what, right? And then the next verse he's talking about being beaten, and he says it's not the blackened eye. It's not the fact that you were beaten that counts, but how did you fight and why? How did you, because even fighting, you can have a weapon and hit someone without a weapon. That is not a fair fight. So check how you fought, and also check the reason you fought, right? How did you fight and why? Why always asks for the reason. So the why stands alone in that poem. Why did you fight? Okay. And then the last verse is about, dying actually. And he says, look, if you're dead, you go to heaven, and even God won't say anything. If you have played your part here, world of men, it can easily be women. In those days, people just called it the world of men. So death can come with a crawl. It can come to you slowly. It can come with a pounce. It can jump on you. And doesn't matter whether he's slow or spry. Spry means fast. It isn't the fact, he says, when you actually, if you had to die for something, it's really not whether you are dead that counts, but only how did you die? Why? How did you die? What did you leave? What did you lay your life down to? So another kind of, serious poem. It's just that it's written in such a way that it wouldn't be considered a classic, but it's a very upbeat poem. It comes in the best loved poems of the American people. Look at that, because how, when, why, all the questions are asked, all in the past tense. So in the Michael Jackson poem, it was the future. In this, it's the past. And if you, enjoy these poems and read it and see how those questions are used, you might easily get an idea how to use the question form. Thank you very much.